A&T are the defending black college football national champions. Well, they're coming off their first loss in 665 days. The Aggies are led by quarterback Lamar Raynard, who is 29-1 as a starter, and a stingy defense whose architect is now the head coach. On the other side, South Carolina State will look to longtime head coach Buddy Pugh to dig them out of an early season hole. Two of the best programs to ever do it in the MEAC meet up for their conference opener next on ESPNU. Welcome to ESPN College Football presented by McDonald's. We're going to set this thing off right from Greensboro. We've got North Carolina A&T and South Carolina State in the house tonight from BB&T Stadium. As we say hello and welcome in with the former Howard University and NFL quarterback Jay Walker, I'm Tiffany Green. So the longest current FCS winning streak is out the window for North Carolina A&T, but the Aggies still have an opportunity to be perfect in conference play as they open it tonight against South Carolina State. And when you look, both teams faced off against league opponents last week, but it didn't count toward conference play because each school is playing now 7 conference games instead of 8 this season with the departure of Hampton University. So A&T looking to bounce back. They've lost for the first time in nearly 2 years. First time also that they're really facing adversity under head coach Sam Washington.
And how do you measure champions? True champions are measured not by how they are when they win, but during tough times, when they get knocked down, when they have to come from behind. For the past couple of years, North Carolina A&T has been the cream of the crop in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. Well, now they're facing a regular season loss this early in the season. Coach Sam Washington has an opportunity to show the Aggie faithful that the Aggies aren't going anywhere. They're still the cream of the crop in the conference.
For South Carolina State, their head coach, Buddy Pugh, who is the dean of coaches in the MEAC, told us this week that they're not afraid of the Aggies.
No, he's been around the block a couple times, and they've always played North Carolina A&T very tough. Coach Pugh's on the hot seat now down there in Orangeburg, and there's no better way to get off the hot seat by having a big victory on the road here against a very good North Carolina A&T ball squad.
And the weather for tonight's game, we had some rain move through earlier in the evening, 72 degrees now, about 93% humidity. So South Carolina State in search of their first win of the season, coming in 0-3.
And when you talk about the elements, normally you don't get too caught up in it, but a night game, kind of dreary outside, the rain, crowd's not really hyped up. Some of the faithful are at home. North Carolina A&T has to be careful this doesn't become their second consecutive trap football game.
A&T won the toss. South Carolina State will receive as the Aggies defer to the second half. Tayshawn Baines gets it underway. And Baines still on his feet nearing the 30-yard line, and that's where we'll see the Bulldogs offense. Tyrese Nick, the sophomore out of Johnston, South Carolina. You see his numbers for last week, 14 of 23.
Don't need to see those numbers. The biggest number that South Carolina State has to do, points on the scoreboard. This is an offense that averages 4.3 runs a game. I don't even call them points. Runs is the baseball terminology. They have to find ways to put points on the scoreboard. The defense is playing well. That's a trademark for South Carolina State. We're going to judge young quarterback Tyrese Nix by how many points they can score tonight.
He's accounted for both touchdowns of the season for the Bulldogs. And the handoff to Omar Cummings, and Cummings with a solid run to start things off for the Bulldogs, the sophomore out of Buford, for a 12-yard gain.
And that's a good sign. When South Carolina State is playing their type of football, they're one of those teams that like to get physical in the trenches, control the line of scrimmage, have the ability to run the football.
You're talking about the Bulldogs up front. They've got pretty much a new offensive line. Left guard Robbie Stevenson, the only one returning with experience, number 56 in white. So first down, Datron James now in the backfield. And Nick looking to pass. He targeted James and just threw it over his head. Penalty flag on the field, and it looks like it's going to go against the Bulldogs.
Next pass incomplete. There is a flag on the play.
And you wonder sometimes, the numbers tell the story. South Carolina State winless on the season. One of the easiest plays to execute is a screen pass, right? This is a simple screen. You let your guy get upfield, get beat, but you see there the tackle, Michael Terry, gets caught holding on a screen. That can't happen. That's an easy play to execute.
And another penalty marker comes out before the snap.
Offense, number one, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Offsides on Demontrez Burrows, so that backs him up once again. Looking at the impact players, Darrell Johnson is a beast up front for the Aggies. In the secondary, Mac McCain. Now 1st and 25. And Nick decides to pull it down and run it. He is so dangerous with the feet, but another flag comes out. So 3 consecutive flags on the play.
They look like they were getting off to a good start with a first down on the first play from scrimmage with a nice running play. Since then, 3 consecutive penalties. Let's see if this one's called against them.
Offense, number one, 10-yard penalty, spot the foul, first down.
Burrows, once again, the guilty party. He's the veteran of that receiver corps.
I mean, this is just the way you don't want to start this game. You're on the road. You're taking on the favorite team to win the conference, ranked in the top 15 nationwide, and you're your own worst enemy with these penalties. Self-inflicted wound.
And that was one of the things that Buddy Pugh talked to us about this week, was the fact that against Norfolk State, they had a shot to win that game, but he felt like they continued to shoot themselves in the foot, and here they're doing it now. Omar Cummings with the run. 3 penalties thus far for 25 yards.
And something that South Carolina State folks have to get used to. See, they feel like they shouldn't have to compete with Norfolk State. They should beat Norfolk State. Norfolk State's beaten them very few times in the history of them being in the conference. So Buddy Pugh really has a rebuilding job he has to do. And I think the faithful down in Orangeburg, they have to be patient. Good young talent on this team, but we're seeing emotionally, mentally, they do make mistakes.
Nick looked for Burrows. Burrows couldn't bring it in. And you talk about just the expectation that's been placed on this program. These are 2 of the best and winningest programs in the MEAC. 16 conference titles for the Bulldogs. But they're looking for their offense to help propel them, because you know they come in with a stout defense.
Been the story. They always bring a defense year in and year out. Offensively, that's the question. What are you going to get? They haven't had a good, solid starting quarterback in Orangeburg in quite some time.
3rd and forever for the Bulldogs. Nick, with some pressure, can't scramble out, and he is brought down by the Aggies. That defensive front is so tough. Justin Cates on the tackle.
Good job by the North Carolina A&T defensive front 4. They have one of the best defensive lines in all of FCS football. That gives them the ability to get away with playing zone coverage with a 4-man front that can pressure the quarterback. Look at everybody getting the quarterback off his spot, locating him, and then bringing him down.
12th sack of the season given up by the Bulldogs. And this punt continues to dribble just near the 27-yard line. And that's when we'll get a first chance to see this North Carolina A&T offense led by Lamar Reynard. This young man, a 5th-year senior out of High Point, North Carolina. 29-1 as a starter, Jay. That's impressive.
Love those numbers there, but everybody here in Greensboro, North Carolina will tell you he's yet to get off in his senior season. They have not seen him play typical Lamar Reynard football, although they've been successful. When he gets it going, this team is impossible to beat.
They were spoiled with his play from a season ago as the Aggies went a perfect 12-0, undefeated on their road to the Celebration Bowl, HBCU National Championship.
and don't want to discredit. I mean, that 29-1 is a phenomenal starting quarterback record. That's absolutely get the job done. Suffered his first loss, so he's a guy like we want to see how he's going to respond as well coming off of that loss.
He felt like last year was a redemption season for him. 72% completion percentage, more than 1,000 yards in the air. This year, much slower start for Raynard. Let's see if this will be the game to get him going. Another handoff to Cartwright. Markel Cartwright is brought down by Chad Gilchrist.
And talking to both coaching staffs, they both thought whoever runs the ball the best is going to have a chance of winning this football game. North Carolina A&T, they're going to get back to the days, not quite with Tariq Cohen, but with Markel Cartwright. He's a really spectacular runner. They want to force feed him the football. They're going to need that offensive line to get it going for head coach Sam Washington.
Last week, A&T was 1 for 12 on third downs. Let's see if they can improve their efficiency with their first third down of the night. Raynard looking for Elijah Bell, overthrows him.
And that's just a miss. I mean, as a quarterback, you have to be able to make that throw. A season ago, he was connected on that throw. They're trying to work with him mechanically. They say when he tends to miss, that's an overstride. He straightens up that left leg. A quarterback throwing with a straight left leg, that's not what you want to do. You have to drive through it. They said they worked on it mechanically, but in his first drop back pass, we saw that stiff first front foot leg.
3 and out. And so they'll have to punt it off. Traquan DeBose, the return man for the Bulldogs, going east and west right now, bottled up, and a lot of yellow jerseys to bring them down. So a 49-yard punt, a -1 return. Credit John Davis, and we'll see Nick in the Bulldogs offense when we come back.
Ready to get to work.
Maytag was named the #1 top-load agitator washer by a leading consumer magazine.
ESPN College Football is presented by McDonald's and in part by the all-new totally remixed Volkswagen Jetta.
A couple of great stars who have played their ball at South Carolina State. Got to put Harry Carson in there, the Hall of Famer as well.
Ooh, Adam, what are you doing? You can't leave off the Hall of Fame.
And this, Tyrese Nick on the scramble. How about Tyrese Nick? He's a player, when he beats you with his feet.
Yeah, when you talk to them, they said, he's not going to hurt us with his arms. And they knew that, North Carolina A&T, but they were afraid of his legs. And look what he's still able to create. Tremendous athleticism at the quarterback position. He has the ability to make 1 or 2 defenders or would-be tackles miss on a consistent basis.
You see Nick leads the team in rushing as compared to the rest of the team. That was 35 yards on that pickup. They crossed midfield.
But what do they do? Great play.
Flags on the play.
Start. Number 58. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Going the wrong direction. 4th penalty now for South Carolina State.
And winless football teams just have this tendency. You make a great play on offense, and then you come out, next play, penalty. They have to take those little things out of the game to give themselves a better opportunity at winning here on the road.
Back themselves up to the 47-yard line. So now 1st and 15.
And I like what they were doing before. The empty backfield, spread out the running lanes, open up the field to allow larger running lanes for your quarterback, Nick.
And let's see, the play clock winds down to 0. Jay, just how frustrating is it when you know that you need your offense to produce, and right now they just seem out of sync?
Yeah, and we see why they're only averaging 4 points a game. It's the little things. You have to pay attention to detail, and to have a great play, a great run by your quarterback, and now you've lost all the momentum that you built up from that spectacular play.
Well, Saturday on ABC, expect whiteout conditions for this one. We'll have a top 10 matchup between number 4, Ohio State, and number 9, Penn State at Beaver Stadium, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC and live on the ESPN app. Saturday Night Football is presented by Wells Fargo. Quarterback comparison here between Dwayne Haskins and Trace McSorley. Look at those whopping numbers.
Man, that's impressive right there. 16-1 touchdown to interception ratio. Haskins playing at a very high level.
Nick rushed out once again, brought down. Another sack for this Aggie defense. In on the stop, Darrell Johnson and Artavius Richardson. That's a loss of 3.
Darrell Johnson can play. I mean, he plays that defensive end. He's got the look, 6'5", 240 pounds with a quick first step. Look, keeps his pad level down, makes a spin move. He's a guy, just a junior, but he has NFL scouts wooing at his athletic ability. He's a disruptor.
5th sack of the season. And the handoff to Datron James up ahead for a couple. You go back to a guy like Darrell Johnson, who had an opportunity to get some more eyes thanks to the NFL scouts coming to check out Brandon Parker a season ago, who is now in the NFL with the Oakland Raiders. But a great opportunity for a guy like him to get noticed.
Yeah, when you practice, and that's what it's all about. He was just a young guy, and doesn't hurt when he goes out there and he plays well versus East Carolina. He plays well versus Jacksonville State, and he shows up on film.
3rd and 16, plenty of time, and once again, the pressure coming from Artavius Richardson.
Did he get that ball across the line of scrimmage?
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see a late flag.
There's a flag on the play. Intentional grounding is the ball.
Lost it down. 4th down.
And this is what I'm going to put on the freshman, because he had time to get here. There was pressure applied. They ran a stunt. You're going to see 99 locks him loop all the way around this way. Takes him a while to get off, but that should be enough time to leave. See, that's a stunt with bad timing, but then he doesn't get rid of the football, gets caught holding it. The ball has to cross the line of scrimmage. He dropped too far back. What started out as a great drive with the first play went downhill quickly.
Deshaun Baker, he's bottled up very quickly, and the ball comes loose. The Bulldogs causing some havoc on that punt return.
South Carolina State ball.
They'll say Austin Ruger recovered it.
Let's see, there's some contact there. Ball's out right away. Fumble there. Good special teams play. Nice sure tackle. Maybe that's the break that the Bulldogs need.
See number 45 causing the disruption.
Well, let's see how aggressive they get their play selection coming off of the turnover.
Modest gain on 1st down from Nick.
So that could be one of those momentum changers. Right now, your special teams get you the football inside the 25-yard line. You're right there in the red zone or the money zone. I'd like to see them become a little bit more aggressive with their play selection.
That puts the Bulldogs in the red zone now, and look like A&T may have jumped off sides. This one is overthrown. We'll see the officials have gotten quite a workout thus far.
Defense, nose tackle. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
See big number 92, Jermaine Williams, trying to get off a little bit early. Number 92 in yellow. Nice recognition by the young quarterback, Nick, realizing he was going to get a free play, taking the throw into the end zone.
And that's going to be an intriguing matchup on the outside. Number 1 in white, DeMontrez Burrow versus Mac McCain, the safety. Excuse me, the cornerback for A&T. Jarius Jenkins on the carry. Brings up 3rd down.
You talked about Mac McCain, cornerback for North Carolina A&T. He's a good one. I think the preseason he was All-American. You're talking about a kid with NFL talent. Plenty of tradition. The name McCain here at North Carolina A&T means something.
Absolutely. His grandfather was one of the Greensboro Four who helped to organize a sit-in at the Woolworth lunch counter, pivotal movement during the Civil Rights era.
It's going to be close. That a bobbled snap. Didn't get it cleanly. Let's take a look at the exchange. Very fortunate to hold on to that, but because of that, not able to get that initial surge that you need when you're going for a quarterback sneak.
So it's 7:16 to go here, and a huge momentum shift, as you mentioned, for the Bulldogs there in red zone territory, as South Carolina State has yet to score in the first half this season, but they're marching down. They'll come out and measure this one.
The winner will be announced and posted on the video board in the third quarter.
Woo!
Very close. We're talking inches there. So that brings up 4th down and inches. What do you do here if you're Buddy Pugh?
You go for it. You haven't won a game yet. You're on the road. It's a conference opponent. You got the ball back with a gift from the special teams play. You challenge your team right now. If you can't pick up 2 inches, it's going to be a long day.
I can't hear you.
Keep in mind, the strength of North Carolina A&T is the defensive line. This is no gimme.
Big set and surging ahead is Tyrese Nick on a second effort. That will be enough to pick up the first down.
You knew the initial surge may not be there. They're coming over the top, but watch him slide down the line, and that second effort solidifies the first down for the Bulldogs.
Well, A&T had the #1 defense in the MEAC the last 4 years. Talking about a stingy defense, top running defense in the conference the last 7. Courtney Cord, the defensive coordinator, leading the way. And look, his group hasn't given up a touchdown in the first quarter this season. Nick, shifty move. Tripped up by Jalen Bethea.
And a nice decision by Nick. I mean, they call these quarterbacks nowadays, you have to have those ball handling skills there. Nice job faking the ride. And then he faked the pitch there when they were baiting him to make the pitch, where they had a safety ready to tackle him for a loss. The quarterback minimize the game, pick up positive yards. No offensive coordinator in the country gets upset when you pick up positive yardage on first down.
And Nick's still learning the quarterback position, but also a multi-sport athlete, football, basketball, and baseball in high school. And running ahead is Harika Greer, and Greer into the end zone for the touchdown. That's the first touchdown of the first half for the Bulldogs.
Look out, Buddy Pugh. He's been around the block a few times. Don't count out South Carolina State. Once they eliminated the penalties, they've shown that they can run the football a little bit on the ground, which is not easy to do versus North Carolina A&T's defensive line.
Dylan Bredesen on for the extra point, and it's good. So Buddy Pugh and South Carolina State ready to play a big momentum shift here on the punt. They put 7 on the board off the turnover. South Carolina State strikes first against the 13th ranked team in the country as Rika Greer, the redshirt freshman, punches it into the end zone for the touchdown. 4 plays, 15 yards, and that 7-yard run for Greer. All caused or because of that turnover.
Yeah,
all off that turnover.
Taking advantage of the special teams turnover. And, you know, you talk about a guy like Farika Greer. This offense, they've only got 1 senior starting on offense. So Buddy Pugh saying, I got a young core group here. If they give him some time, he thinks they can be very, very successful. And you just saw a glimpse of it with Greer.
Enos Williams picks it up. So you can stream college football all season long on ESPN Plus. So start your free trial today by downloading the ESPN app or visiting ESPNplus.com. And look, you got to get your popcorn, your hot wings, all that good stuff ready for South Dakota State and North Dakota State. Look at 67.5 points. Are you kidding me?
Like number one offense versus number one defense. What do you like better, offense or defense? Both undefeated and both ranked in the top 3. North Dakota State Bison number 1. The Jackrabbits are number 3 in the country. But in order to see it, you have to have ESPN Plus.
Must subscribe. If you got the app, that's one thing, but you've got to subscribe to it. As Jermaine Martin on the run, penalty flag out on the field.
Offside. Defense, number 97. 5-yard penalty. First down.
So looking at the FCS national rankings in the top 10, look, North Carolina A&T was there last week at number 4, but they dropped all the way to 13.
I thought they were penalized a little bit hard by the voters, considering they beat the number 8 ranked team in the country in Jacksonville State.
It was the best ranking in program history for the Aggies as Reynard keeps it, but once more, penalty marker on the field, and Rick Warren in his
Aggie 49.
Number 68. 10-yard penalty. First down.
His crew have been mightily busy so far in this first quarter.
I mean, talk about North Carolina A&T, and of that resume, those 12 teams ranked above North Carolina A&T, tell me who has a better resume than that with the victories. Beating Jacksonville State, ranked 6th in the country, beating East Carolina, and then knocking off Gardner-Webb, and then the Morgan State loss. So, yes, they got the loss. In fact, teams are going to lose, but their victories put those up against anybody playing FCS football this season.
3rd season in a row they've taken down an FBS opponent. Checks up the line. 1st and 15 for Reynard. Looking to pass, but the pressure coming. He eludes it, gets the ball off in time. Completes the pass to Elijah Bell. Bell still on his feet, as that is Reynard's favorite target. And Elijah Bell, number 13.
When 100%, Elijah Bell is the best wide receiver in this conference, but good agility on display by Reynard. Throws an accurate ball to Bell, and Bell knows what to do after he catches it. Realizes, look for the first down marker, get as close as you can. Good play by the Aggies.
Bell still at the top of your screen. Quickly over to Malik Wilson. Wilson, they like to get him out in space because he's the speed guy, and he was met very quickly by Scott Robinson.
But Malik Wilson on that wide receiver, little bubble screen, but he took a knocking from Scott Robinson, the freshman from Rock Hill, South Carolina.
First down for the Aggies. Once more, this time targeting Zachary Leslie, a player who has really come on as of late for the Aggies. A nice surprise for them.
Yeah, and you see offensive coordinator Chris Barnett trying to increase the tempo. He doesn't want them to come out sleepwalking like they did a week ago versus Morgan State. Go and no-huddle offense, trying to jumpstart this offense.
The handoff to Cartwright, and Cartwright picks up solid yardage on 2nd down, brought down by Lane Jones.
Now let's see the difference between a week ago. Can the Aggies convert on 3rd down? Some of the impact players, Markel Cartwright, great skill position running back. Elijah Bell, one of the best. Alex Brown, NFL talent out there. And the young freshman linebacker, Chad Gilchrist, some people think he could be the next great one at South Carolina State.
Tough snap to handle. Reynard gets it and moves the pile ahead, but not what you want on 3rd and 6.
Yeah, and the 3rd down struggles continue for this North Carolina A&T football team. I mean, this snap is off center. It's the little things. Going to pull them away. Good job of just keeping it there, but that throws off the timing of the quarterback running back exchange on the play action and forces a punt from North Carolina A&T.
And when we talked with Sam Washington this week, he said, look, our team is ready, we're prepared, and we feel like we can bounce back and regroup. But from what you're seeing far, is that accurate?
Could be another trap game. It really could. You know, the elements are here. And South Carolina State's they want to make this an ugly game. They saw from Morgan State last week, you're not going to go toe-to-toe with A&T. You got to make it an ugly football game.
Offside. Defense. Number 8.
First down.
So Khalid Anthony bails out the Aggies.
And that's what you can't do. And I say that they're winless for a reason. They've already got 7 penalties in this football game here. You cannot do that. He clearly jumped, forced the North Carolina A&T defender to move the blocker. And you give a sleeping offense. This offense has been asleep. Now that you might have kicked him a little bit to wake him up.
The Aggies were held to just 208 yards last week against Morgan State. That was the first time they were held under 250 since their last loss to Richmond. And Raynard going down the field sees Zachary Leslie, and Leslie able to haul it in. Leslie is the most improved player of that wide receiver core, and he was able to catch this one.
Yeah, nice double move by Leslie in the slot. Gave him a little stick move up the seam. Perfectly thrown ball by Raynard. Now we're seeing some signs of life from North Carolina A&T.
35-yard completion, and now the Aggies with an opportunity to answer. Cartwright on the handoff, and Kendrick Gathers among other Bulldogs there to stop him.
Yeah, that was a great play by Gathers there, number 9, coming from that slot position. They had a slot blitz, timed it up perfectly, and able to make a tackle in the backfield or at the line of scrimmage. Now this is when healthy, this is when they look for that matchup right here. They're looking bottom of the screen. That's Elijah Bell, one-on-one, no safety help over the top. This is when you give him that jump ball, and he comes down with it with a great play.
Bell playing at about 80%. They flip it out quickly to Cartwright, but because Elijah Bell fractured a bone in his foot, so a broken bone during the offseason, now not at 100%, but they still could very well target number 13 in yellow.
He's a difference maker. And, you know, we asked the coaches, they say he's probably about 80%, but when his 80%, as you and I talked about, is better than 95% of the conference wide receivers.
Crucial third down here in the red zone for the Aggies' 9th play of the drive.
Got to attack the middle field right here.
Brainard stands in, takes a big hit, and overthrows his intended receiver, Tyrell Goodwin, with the hit.
Now, this is a tough one. Soft cover 2 look, middle field's wide open. He went the right place with the ball, but he didn't drive the ball. There's a throwing lane there. The linebackers are gone. Step through this throw. You can line drive that ball to him. The wide receiver was underneath the defensive back. That's a line drive throw. Could have been a touchdown. Instead, that ball, 2 gets away from him.
So the Aggies will have to settle for a 30-yard field goal. Noel Ruiz on to kick. And that one makes it through. So the Aggies put up 3 on the board with 16 seconds to go in the first quarter. We've got a ball game.
With ESPN Plus. Get more ESPN and download now.
Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by McDonald's. South Carolina State gives the Aggies essentially 3 free points on that last drive, but the Bulldogs on the road with the lead as time winds down here in the first quarter.
A good response. I mean, and that's the difference. South Carolina State's a young team. They had an opportunity to get North Carolina off the field, and they made a mistake on punt coverage, give the Aggies the ball back, and the Aggies put some points on the board. But I think that's a disappointing 3 points considering where they had the football. And still feel like something's just not quite right with that North Carolina A&T offense.
And considering you still have the lead on the 13th ranked team in the country, how good are you feeling right now if you're the Bulldogs, considering you've made some mistakes?
Yeah, I think Buddy got what he wanted. He wanted this to be a trap game. You know, and he wanted A&T to feel like, oh, we're going to go in there and beat them. We're going to work on some stuff and feel confident, because South Carolina State did not look good in their loss last week versus Norfolk State. But the old Wiley veteran, the dean of the coaches in the MEAC, his team came here to play.
17 seasons on the sideline for the Bulldogs, and he talked about just the youth of this team and how young they are. And they are currently on top 7-3 as the first quarter comes to a close. Bulldogs.
Is all the difference in the world. Introducing the all-new Lexus ES, a product of mastery. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Voya Financial, helping you to and through retirement. And Caramel M&M's, we're making caramel fun.
That right there is the dude, Willie Jeffries, winningest all-time coach in South Carolina State. The second winningest in the program is Buddy Pugh, and two terrific head coaches.
Oh, absolutely great coaches, but the dude, besides Carson, there was Robert Porcher.
Yes.
See, that's my generation. See, I played when Porcher played, and he terrorized the MEAC like no other I've seen in quite some time.
And if you think about just the type of players, defensive players, especially that have come through South Carolina State, Chartrick Darby, of course,
yeah.
The 2018 MEAC Hall of Fame class with you.
Yep.
And now Darius Leonard.
Darius Leonard.
Yeah, two-time MEAC defensive player. Yep, Javon Hargrave. Just saw him on Monday Night Football and the Steelers win over Tampa Bay. Elvin Bethea. Got to give him some props, too, as Nick picks it up off the ground and able to make something out of nothing on that 3rd and 5.
You know, and that's one there where it was third and manageable, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5 yards, but it was a low snap, wasn't ready to field it cleanly, then trying to make a play happen. And unfortunately for South Carolina State fans, their quarterback, Tyrese Nick, is on the ground.
So we'll step aside quickly here from BB&T Stadium in Greensboro.
Or dessert. And for lunch, try one of our burgers, like the barbecue bacon burger. You can't fake steak.
Tyrese Nick on the sideline took a hard hit, may have fallen on the ball awkwardly as Cayenne Howard came to hit him.
Yeah, I think it was a combination of the ball location and then Howard putting the weight at the end. Oh, better be careful. Pretty soon they're going to call that a targeting penalty, or roughing the quarterback penalty. They landed on the ball like that. So let's hope he's able to come back in this game. Nice punt. Oh, what a mistake.
Baker back and ouch.
What a mistake.
He goes out at just around the 5-yard line. 58-yard punt for Jerome Petaway.
Great punt, but you don't feel the ball inside your own 10 when you're drifting, and then to step out of bounds. Mental error by North Carolina A&T special teams.
When you're looking at North Carolina A&T, founded in 1891. We've talked so much about Tariq Cohen and just how special he is.
I'm going to do this for the Aggies.
But frankly,
I'm going to give him that. This is the #1 HBCU in the country right now, and I'm a Howard guy. The Aggies are hot. They're the #1 HBCU in the country. The campus is phenomenal. Football team's the highest ranked in FCS. All their sports programs, everything, academic programs. A&T's hot. And even to make it worse, I hate to say it, but my money goes to A&T.
Oh, yeah.
My daughter goes to A&T. You got to be kidding me.
Well, apparently she said to herself, I made the right decision. More than 12,000 enrolled here. They just opened up a new state-of-the-art student center. I think they said $90 million went into that bad
And they're
boy.
getting a $19 million coaches suite at the end of the stadium here. So when people, if you haven't been down here to Greensboro in a while, it's not the A&T you're used to. This campus is phenomenal, and A&T is on a roll. Hats off to Chancellor Martin and the job they've done down here with this environment.
Deflected by Jalen Evans on that Raynard pass. Yeah. So 2nd and 12 deep in their own territory, Jay.
Now, you and I were both HBCU alums.
Sure.
And I went to Howard, the best HBCU out there, but you went to FAMU.
In
but
your modest opinion,
we both have to admit, A&T's the hottest thing out right
Absolutely.
now.
Absolutely. Look, I was trying to find a way to come to the greatest homecoming on earth. I wanted to check out Jiho. I just wanted to see how special it was. And at halftime, I think, Jay, you're going to unveil the top homecomings in the HBCU world.
Yeah, that's my gimme 5. I've seen them all, and I call it like I see it. It's like I say, A&T's the hottest thing right now. So coming up halftime, gimme 5, top 5 homecomings in HBCU landscape.
I can tell you this, FAMU better be on there, and it needs to be near the top. We're gonna have a problem.
Third and 11, Lamar. Right now, A&T need to come up with a first down as they're backed up.
You're trying to move them on now, huh?
I always tell you, it's called Jay's Gimme 5.
Lay side. Bernard finds Cartwright. Cartwright still on his feet. Markel Cartwright going forward, and I think that may be enough for a first down, and a penalty marker comes out at the end of the play.
But I tell you, he's an impact player. That's why I know how to call him. And Cartwright was hit well short of the first down marker, but the second, third, fourth effort, able to pick it up. Now let's sort out and see what the penalty is.
For holding. First down.
So Markel Cartwright, look at there. He was able to shake the first defender there, Jayton Brunson.
Now, look, we see 2 bodies, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He took on 7 South Carolina State defenders because he knew he had to get the first down. Maybe that's the spark that the Aggies need.
More importantly, converting on third down, they handed off to Jermaine Martin. Martin, the transfer out of Coastal Carolina, brought down by Jalen Evans, and they're really high on Martin, number 30. Had a career-high 93 yards against Gardner-Webb a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, now, they said they wanted to see a little bit more from Martin. They think he's special. But after Cartwright makes a run like that, feed him the football. I would keep giving the ball to Markel Cartwright. But they say Martin can be that next guy, just a sophomore, transfer from Coastal Carolina. He's got a little bit of explosiveness to him. Now he's in the backfield.
2nd and 2, they decide to throw and miss Zachary Leslie. So that brings up a third down once more for the Aggies.
And once again, what I said we're going to look for. Left leg, does he lock it? Go in there, left leg, lock. Fully straight left leg. You can't throw football when you're standing straight up on one leg. You got to be bent and balanced, and they're trying to fix it, but when you lock up that left knee, you lose your accuracy.
Handoff once more to Cartwright, trying to pick up those tough yards. And I think he's going to be stopped short. Paul McIver in on the stop.
Well, he's short. You know, it's funny when you talk to Buddy Pugh about North Carolina A&T and how good they are. We said, well, they've been the cream of the crop 3 or 4 years. And he said, go back and look at the film. That little guy they had, Tariq Cohen, we were the only team that bottled him up time and time again. And it's just something about the way they're built. South Carolina State is built inside out so they can stop the run. And right now, they always seem to give North Carolina A&T trouble. They're in for another dogfight here.
A&T has won the last 3 meetings, but historically has gone in favor of South Carolina State. So we'll see the Bulldogs offense back on the field.
More driven.
Well, South Carolina State with a 7-3 lead over the A&T Aggies. And for the Bulldogs, look, they're holding their own tonight out of Orangeburg, South Carolina. Some impressive names there as well with Willie Jeffries, Harry Carson, and Carl McCullough. I know
that's Miss USA.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're pretty partial.
Hats off. Hey, 2017 Miss USA. Give credit where credit's due.
Nick going backwards instead of forward, pushed out of bounds as he tries to get it away, but Nick back in, and that's a good sign for South Carolina State.
It is, and we thought he might have got the wind knocked out of him. And they're going to need his legs, his ability. You know, I haven't seen from South Carolina State they're going to be able to have long drives down the field. If they're going to score some points, he's going to have some big plays, some of those breakdown plays. And right now, with great field position, be a good opportunity for him to come up and make a big play, get his team in scoring position.
And Nick thus far is 0 for 2. They haven't really thrown the ball much tonight, and this one comes out of his hands, and he's tossed down by Julius Reynolds. They like to call him the doctor. Graduated in 3.5 years here and also is a teacher on campus. You like that? Teaching some of his teammates as well. Originally from Wilmington, North Carolina. He'll go on to medical school.
And that's what it's about. Being a student athlete down here and getting it done in the classroom. And he's a pretty good football player too, so that's what you like when you see the total package.
3rd and 20. 18 runs for South Carolina State, just 2 passes, but an obvious passing situation here.
Be careful throwing the ball. You got McCain likes to break on situations like this. Yeah, that was a dangerous throw. 3rd and 20, throwing at an All-American cornerback, and you can tell if that throw would have been a little bit lower, McCain might have been thinking pick 6.
Instead, the punting unit comes on for the Bulldogs. Derek Williams, the redshirt sophomore, back to receive the punt. An opportunity for A&T to get some good field position. Jeremy Petaway has done an amazing job with his punting duties tonight.
He touched that. That's a touchdown.
It's a touchdown. Oh,
yes.
My goodness. Jermaine Baxley recovers it, and a big costly mistake here for the Aggies on special teams.
Yeah, they've been struggling. He's been making poor decisions all night. On the punt return early, he fumbled. He got one that he downed early inside the 2. And this is a different return, and that's Derek Williams. He touched that ball and was running to go get it. And so, yeah, it seemed like clearly like he touched that ball, then he walked away from it like he didn't.
It looked close to me. It looked to be perhaps on the fingertips, but we'll bring in our rules expert, Rogers Redding, to break down that play. What did you see, Rogers?
It looks like he touched it, and replay is going to look at this, and the issue is, would they have enough to overturn it if they think that he touched it or not? I don't think they got enough to overturn that, but we'll see what. They may have different looks, but it looks like to me right there he touches the ball. You can kind of see the ball has a little bit of different flight, and he's got to get back and get on that ball. He would not have to get it out of the end zone, but he's got to get back there and get on it.
Just sit on it, yeah. And this is the part for me. When I saw that in person, he touched that football, but the replay made it look close.
Confirmed. Okay, yeah.
See, and that's the tough part, because when I saw it person up close, it looked like clearly he touched it, but that replay made it look close. So it's not an easy job being a replay official.
You got that right. It's as hard a job as there is in the stadium, I'll tell you for sure.
But I like the fact that they got it right. And at the end of the day, North Carolina A&T does not look like the pride of HBCU football right now.
And the extra point is blocked. But the Aggies need to find a way to regroup as they're down by 10.
Or so. Know your game day stuff with this 45-quart Rubbermaid cooler, now just $24.97. ESPN College Game Day, built by the Home Depot.
Right now, South Carolina State holding the number 13 team in the country to just 3 points here in the second quarter. Well, just a reminder that on Saturday on ABC, expect whiteout conditions for a top 10 matchup between number 4 Ohio State and number 9 Penn State at Beaver Stadium, 7:30 Eastern on ABC and live on the ESPN app. So 13 points off of turnovers early for the Bulldogs. And they're holding the Aggies at bay, but here's their speed guy, Malik Wilson, down the near sideline. And Wilson with a solid return, because we've seen some interesting plays on special teams thus far tonight, Jay.
Yeah, pretty A&T's been getting outplayed in the special teams department. South Carolina State, we saw the graphic. They've capitalized 13 of their points coming off of that. And at a certain point, it starts to become depressing. If you're a defensive unit, you're doing your job, you're keeping them out of the end zone for the most part, and the offense just can't get it going. I'd be curious to see what they decide to do. If Raynard does not have a good drive here, I'm curious if they will go to Khalil Carter, their backup.
Well, Khalil Carter has had some playing time already this season. and stepped up and was ready when his number was
Offside,
called.
the contact. Defense number 91. 5-yard penalty. First down.
So A&T, when you're looking at their field position 26, 25, and 5. And some tough field position to start with.
Yeah, they shouldn't have fielded that ball on their 5-yard line. So they're just they're not playing great. They're not playing like it. Look out, I bet you the rest of America is saying, hey, they're not that good. This is a very good defense, but the offense hasn't been there.
Reynard going deep as the man just overthrows them, and you've been covering them for some time. We saw them in the Celebration Bowl last year. What do you think is the difference from that Aggies team to now?
Reynard, I mean, you know, you hate to call it because he's had a great career at North Carolina A&T, but he's throwing 44%. I mean, the defense is playing well enough to beat East Carolina, to beat Jacksonville State. Those have been low-scoring games. The difference was a season ago they had Brandon Parker left tackle, and Reynard was really getting it done. Right now, he just hasn't found his groove. And that's the type of throw we're used to seeing him make. The Reynard to Bell 1-2 punch there. And you see Elijah Bell at 80% trying to get him going. He realizes what's at stake. Best throw of the evening we've seen so far. Reynard drives through it. Nice accurate throw, and Bell picks up the first down.
Bell, a two-time All-MEAC selection out of West Virginia. Originally was a basketball player, but the previous head coach here, Rod Broadway, said, I got to get this young man down to our program to get him to play football. Targeting Bell once again. He brings in the catch, but this time he's slow to get up. So Elijah Bell, the 2016 MEAC Rookie of the Year. Actually, before he came here, he won the Randy Moss Award for the best receiver in West Virginia. And currently down on the field, remember, we told you he had a broken bone in his foot, and they're tending to him now for perhaps something else.
Backed by the unconditional satisfaction guarantee. Dickies Flex, engineered to move. Learn more at Dickies.com.
The Aggies' top receiver, Elijah Bell, went down on that last play, and if you're North Carolina A&T, you can ill afford to have your top guy go down.
I mean, he's a guy that can be a difference maker. And getting him back would be a good thing for the Aggies.
So 3 receivers to the bottom of your screen. And Reynard will tuck it and run. And that one may very well come back.
Yeah, in that position where you normally see holding.
Holding. Offense, number 55. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
The center, Dackery Wilson, called for the hold.
And you see, this is a design quarterback draw. Actually gets up underneath. It's close when they're wrestling in there a little bit. Holding, Rogers? It's holding. Could be called, but what do you say? You call hold on every play, though, right? He had him in the steering wheel. So Rogers telling me, yeah, they're called with the hold in there.
That backs him up 2nd and 16 now. Reynard once again calls his own number, tries to roll out of the pocket.
He crossed the line of scrimmage. Well, I see a flag over there, but I thought he might have crossed the line of scrimmage when he threw that football. And then I think A&T thinks they're getting a roughing the passer, but I thought he crossed the line of scrimmage and threw that football.
Legal forward pass. Yep. Offense, number 7. 5-yard penalty. It's a loss of down.
Yeah, so you'll see the initial line of scrimmage. When you take a look at it, he sees it, and that's the line right there. He comes across it clearly beyond the line of scrimmage, throwing that football. Good job by the officials catching that. And that's a big penalty.
And if you're Sam Washington, at what point do you walk over to Chris Barnett and say, hey, perhaps we look at number 10, Khalil Carter, to come in as the backup for Raynard, because at points, just having a tough time.
Good throw. I mean, that there, as much as we say that he's had his struggles, Malik Wilson has to catch that football. When you're talking about 3rd and 20. You know, that one there kind of drives through the ball, throw a little bit high, but goes right between his gloves, in between the chest. You know, in the conditions, it's been misty, so it's been misty here all night, so they're not ideal football playing conditions.
South Carolina State thus far getting it done against the Aggies tonight.
That kick. Yikes.
And nothing going right seemingly for North Carolina A&T at this point.
Is that an 8-yard punt? 15-yard punt?
So A&T's defense will trot back onto the field, and we told you about Julius Reynolds. They like to call him the doctor. Dr. Reynolds, teaching his Biology 100 class this semester. He graduated with a degree and now is in grad school studying biomedical engineering. Yeah, and he also, I think you may have played with his adopted father, Ricky Reynolds. I remember him with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But you played with him with the Patriots.
Yeah, we made him a winner when he came and joined us in New England. Ricky Reynolds is a great guy. Not surprised that his son is the academic guy that he is, and also a good football player.
One of 7 players for the Aggies that have graduated. That's quite impressive.
And the good thing is, these are players. These are folks that we're seeing play on the field. So they graduated and they're still playing football, and they're helping their university.
Nick throws off a couple of defenders, stays on his feet, and the interception. We'll see if it holds, as Jalen Bethea got that one.
They're saying no interception, but it may not count anyway, because I think it was a face mask early in that play.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 94, 15-yard penalty, spot, automatic first down.
Justin Cates called for that, and then the pick negated by Jalen Bethea. Did he catch it anyway? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, he was out of bounds there. Let's see here. Escaping. It's just one of those nights for North Carolina A&T. Grabbed on the face mask. Grab the quarterback's face mask, you're going to get called for it every time. Now South Carolina State, better field position in the first down.
The run by Datron James, and James went nowhere. And if you're Sam Washington, you've called this defense for 7 years before taking over as head coach, and right now you've given up 13 points. You don't like to give up a lot of points. What do they have to do? It hasn't been the defense, but you know that they need to lead the spark or charge for your team.
With the turnover, I think, you know, Coach Washington probably saying, hey, defense, go get us a turnover. Look out.
Big play by Quan Caldwell, and Caldwell with a huge reception and run after catch. And once again, the Bulldogs in Aggie territory.
And how about the young quarterback threading the needle on that throw? Nice route by Caldwell. Big play for South Carolina State.
43-yard reception for the fifth-year senior. And now it's a question of, can the Bulldogs extend this lead even more and make the Aggies all the more uncomfortable?
Yeah, this is I think there's disbelief. You know, here in the stadium, and I'm sure the viewers at home are saying, what is going on with this North Carolina A&T football program? They look a little shell-shocked. And I'll tell you one thing, Buddy Pugh, he is not going to take his foot off the gas pedal. So he's got his foot on their neck. He's going to squeeze down a little bit harder. I mean, look, they're stunned. They are stunned This is the program that hadn't lost a game in how many days?
665 until last weekend's loss to Morgan State.
And now they're looking at a lot of football to be played, but 2 losses in a
5-day period. Yeah.
Oh, they need to turn it around. And in both of these games, they've been heavily favored.
And with that pass from Nick, his first completion of the night, once more, Bulldogs in the red zone. A little chain gang clean up there. We'll kick off your Week 4 NFL Sunday with ESPN at 10 a.m. Eastern. Sam and the guys will have all the early breaking stories, injury updates, and preview each game right up to kickoff. And like everything else, it's live on the ESPN app, so you can catch it anywhere. Tariq Cohen will be in action this weekend against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Tariq's watching this game saying, what is going on?
Meanwhile, the Bulldog faithful are loving it thus far. Good showing on this Thursday night. Nick tries to get to the outside. And Jamal Darden pushed him out.
Ball security is going to be the key right now on this third down play. You're in scoring position, you're in field goal range, like you can get that. Don't force it, protect football, watch the fumble, don't risk the interception. If I'm South Carolina State. They got a matchup down at the bottom of the screen, one-on-one if they can get it. Size matchup.
Caldwell in motion. And quickly bringing the pressure. Nick gets it away, but it's incomplete. So good hold there for the Aggies defense as the kicking unit comes on for South Carolina State. If you pull 3 points out of here, are you happy?
Anytime an offense that's averaging 4 points a game, adding 2-point safeties, everything, it adds up. And they've been able to do it. The key would be extending that lead up by 10, making it 13, makes it 2 touchdowns to A&T to get the lead back. So good job by South Carolina State, and they've got the Aggies on the ropes.
The Bulldogs searching for their first win of the season, and Buddy Pugh's ball club has done it off of turnovers.
I mean, it started off with the special teams on the punt return opportunity, fumble, that was able South Carolina State to get the ball in good field position, and they took advantage of it right away with Parika Greer going in for the score. This one here, ball that was touched by the return man and tried to act as if he didn't touch it. Good job by special teams unit of South Carolina State recovering that football in the end zone for the score.
With so much conversation surrounding this North Carolina A&T program, we've talked all broadcast long and all season long about just how hot it is. You think Sam Washington may have some choice words for his team when they go into the locker room?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, and that's not a good sign. You know, that's not a good sign when you got guys starting to point the finger, just shaking their head, and you know, the whole talk when we talked to Coach Washington was about, hey, this team's coming together. We needed that loss. I think we're going to overcome it. Right now, it looked like the Aggies are still shell-shocked.
Picked up by Williams. Amos Williams still on his feet. Up the left sideline. And a good return from the Aggies. And you talked with Sam Washington yesterday just about where this team was.
They can handle adversity. Very resilient. Handle adversity. Very resilient. It hurt now, I promise, and I was very concerned about how long it would take us to get them back, and I think we have them back.
Meanwhile, we saw a couple of guys maybe jawing at one another, maybe in a disagreement on the sideline. So, as you said, Jay, that's not the positive sign you want to see.
They don't have that swag. You A&T, they almost, took the field like there were no chinks in their armor. Where Morgan exposed the chink Saturday. Look at this.
Another turnover, a mishandled snap. As a bad snap from Dackery Wilson. And the Bulldogs fall on it. Xavier Johnson with the fumble recovery. And that's the third turnover tonight for the Aggies.
I mean, this snap is completely off the mark. There's really nothing Raynard can do but try and get there. Look how far over that is. Fortunate to tip it. And look at this. I'm sure at this point he said, I don't even recognize that football team that's out there. This is quite amazing. I mean, to watch this and to see it, up close and personal. And I don't know what to say. This is where he's going to earn that. He's now the head coach, not the D coordinator. He has to do something to turn this ball club around.
You said it was A&T who had the juice coming in, but tonight it's been all South Carolina State.
And I like the play selection there by offensive coordinator Bennett Swaggart. You're up by 13, so right now we talk about closing out the half. 5 minutes out. You want to say we want to increase the lead, but we don't want to leave too much time on that clock. So right now you're on the road, you're up by 13. Run the football, deflate the football a little bit. I take a little bit more time off the clock before I start snapping, and that's what they're doing. Lining up, they're going to milk it a little bit and try and see if they can add some more points before the half, but minimize the opportunities A&T has to get their offense going.
And that pass was deflected by Daryl Johnson out of the hand of Nick. Now 3rd and 8.
Be careful here. I wouldn't be too proud to call a draw play here, because I do think we've seen quarterback Tyrese Nick, have trouble protecting the football at times, come close to a couple interceptions, a couple batted balls. When the offense range is playing that bad, the defense is going to look to create a turnover to get a spike. So I'd be very protective of my ball security right now.
Nick dropping back to pass, and there's Daryl Johnson once again.
I mean,
the play hasn't been whistled dead. It's still alive. Or is it not? The whistle, we hear the whistle come from the officials, but it looked like.
There's no foul. Grounding. Number 48 was in the area. 4th down.
Woo, but I said it should be ball security. Protect the football there. You saw something waiting to happen. Let's take a look. Rogers, tell me what you see here, Rogers. Ready?
Throw this ball forward. Now you can see he brings an arm forward in control of the ball, so that's pass. And they said there was a receiver in the area, no intentional grounding. He's very lucky here, but he does control the ball, throw it forward, so that's clearly a pass.
But they should have listened to me too, though, right? They should have run that draw play.
I'm with you, Jay.
they're having trouble.
You're the
right
expert
there
on that.
on the offense, but I mean, South Carolina State dodged the bullet. And we mentioned A&T defense, they're going to become a little bit more aggressive, trying to force the tempo, the action. They're saying the offense won't get the job done. We'll try and do it.
And this punt goes into the end zone. Well, Saturday on ABC, expect whiteout conditions as Penn State and Ohio State get down from Beaver Stadium, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC and live on the ESPN app. Saturday Night Football is presented by Wells Fargo, and Penn State hasn't lost a home game since November 21st, 2015. That was against then number 14 Michigan, but now could we very well see Khalil Carter come in just in case you want to change something up and switch up the tempo if Raynard doesn't get it going on this drive.
Carter was the spark that beat East Carolina. He came in off the bench, threw 2 touchdowns, and that was the margin of victory. I'm surprised we have not seen him here in this first half, where Coach Washington told us he may have a little bit quicker trigger with Raynard.
And Jermaine Martin on the carry, brought down by Scott Robinson. When you're a quarterback who's not in this normal groove, what do you do to help him get there?
Try and call his favorite pass combination. If he likes to throw quick hitches, okay. Intermediate throws, something you simplify the playbook. Maybe give him some play action and get more of the running game going. So that was a good sign, that last play. Successful run on 1st down.
2nd and 3. Quick pass from Reynard over to Bell.
Now, this has been the key. 3rd down. A week ago, what were their statistics versus Morgan?
1 of 12.
1 of 12. And now they're in a 3rd down situation. This is where your senior quarterback puts you in the best position. He's got to come up with his 1st down. It's
Tries
not
to
there.
tuck it and run and nowhere to go as the Bulldogs were standing right there. Paul McIver helping to slow Reynard. Only 1 first down tonight, or excuse me, this quarter for North Carolina A&T as the punting unit comes on once more. And we heard a couple of boos already in the stadium, Jay.
I was checking. I had to take off my headset. Yeah. Did I hear boos? Wow. My game's not even over yet, not even halftime. And the fans seem like they're ready to jump ship.
They're itching for the Aggies to get something going, but South Carolina State and their defense, that's the one to talk about here tonight.
Hey, that's what the Bulldogs are getting back to playing Bulldog defense. They lost Darius Leonard from a season ago to the NFL. Deshaun Taylor, but they still got some guys that can get after it. If you talk about South Carolina State, it always, year in and year out, starts with the defense and the defensive line. Things are no different. They don't have many W's, but the Bulldogs will still hit you.
Searching for their first win tonight. And look at that rush defense. 19 yards allowed.
And how about this? I've been waiting to say this. Right now, they're winning the dogfight. I can say dogfight because it's an Aggie versus a Bulldog.
Good job for you. Good job for you. A point for Jay. Omar Cummings on the carry. 2 timeouts remaining for South Carolina State, 3 for the Aggies.
I would call a timeout if I was North Carolina A&T. I'm going to force them to give me the ball back before the half. With that much time, I've got 3 of them. Offense isn't doing much. You held them to just 1 yard on first down. Why not take a chance? He's thinking about it. Look, should we call a timeout before the half? He just mentioned those words to him. So if you come up with another big play here, you know, they gained 1 or 2 yards. I'm calling another timeout, but I would have burned one that last play.
And the handoff, and really nowhere to go for Datron James. And quickly, Washington calls that timeout.
Yeah, I like that choice. Call the timeout now. Try and say, if we can chip it in this lead at halftime, build any type of momentum.
Well, coming into last week's game, you think about Morgan State. Sam Washington said, look, we were feeling it, okay? I was on 2,000 with this team and then kind of deflated against the Bears when they lost here at home, but felt like they could bounce back. And you think about the success that they've had the last 7 years. It was under Rod Broadway. Now, boom, Sam Washington gets the keys to what he says was the Maserati. And now in conference play, his Aggies have to step up.
Better check the tire and tread on that Maserati. How's it handling? Not handling the elements too much right now in these tough, ugly football games.
So you think if you're A&T, if you can stop South Carolina State here, you've got 2 timeouts remaining. If you can get on the board, you know that you get the ball to start the second half. That could switch things around. As Omar Cummings is bottled up, a penalty marker on the field.
Holding. Offense. Number 56.
Decline.
Decline. 4th down.
Decline and penalty, but more importantly for North Carolina A&T, they have to have good punt return selection.
We've seen that be their Achilles heel tonight.
So look at this. You know they've got down back returning punts. Elijah Bell is coming in to be the punt returner. They're probably telling him just make a good decision whether or not you fair catch it or not.
Well, they feel very confident that he can do just that.
He needs to back up because the punter from South Carolina State's got a leg, and he's been booting it over the return men all night.
He gets it away, and Bell just lets it bounce. And down near the 15-yard line. Well, coming up at the half, Adnan, Joey, and Coach Moore who's in the CFP. Plus, John Miller from the Undefeated joins us. And give me 5, the best HBCU homecomings, according to our very own Jay Walker.
If I say they're the best homecomings, they're the best homecomings. You sounded like you were doubting that.
No, according to Jay Walker.
Hey, my word is bomb. You've been around the block
is your
a few
word
times.
bomb
You
in
know
the household? Huh?
So, first and 10 for the Aggies.
Wait a minute. Why you got so quiet on that one, Jay? Yeah. Shout out to Mrs. Walker. So the Aggies are working just under 90 seconds to go in this one, and run up the gut. Markel Cartwright, and he's still on his feet, bouldering over just about the 42-yard line. Jalen Evans bringing him down, but a 25-yard gain on first down.
Yeah, he's running with a little extra pep in his step. He's got a sense of urgency behind it. I think Cartwright has played well for North Carolina A&T in the first half. I continue to find ways to get him the football.
Well, they hand it off to him once more. Another solid run on first down, and he moves the sticks.
Good job. Now they're probably going to make some adjustments. South Carolina State bring that extra safety down, but that's when you got to be careful for the throw over the top.
This time it's Raynard. 3 straight runs for A&T as this offense moving at a hurried pace.
Now he was marked short of the first down, so the clock's going to tick. You have to be aware of that. Don't let too much time go off the clock before you call this play.
And Martin, Jermaine Martin, high step, homeboy, what up? Touchdown for the Aggies, a 40-yard touchdown run for the Coastal Carolina transfer.
They wanted to see what he could do, and he showed them that explosiveness they talked about, but give credit to that offensive line from North Carolina A&T. They found a way to get it done. Won their matchup, one missed tackle by Chad Gilchrist, and he was off to the races for Martin.
And the extra point is good. So we've talked all night. For as poorly as the Aggies have played in this first half, they're still down by just a touchdown.
They had opportunity to go down just by 6, and a good job by Martin. You know what I like? He finishes the run, gets in the open field. Good runners, when they see the end zone, they find a way to cross the goal line. And finally gives the Aggies something they can say Aggie pride about.
North Carolina A&T had all rushes on that drive.
And disappointing way to end the first half for South Carolina State. You have the champs on the ropes, and they didn't manage it well. That's why I thought when they had that lead up by 13, you want to go in up by at least 13, maybe 16 to increase it. They gave this offense too many opportunities to get going on track, and the Aggies put together their best drive of the evening.
Remember, A&T gets the ball back to start the second half. So A&T and South Carolina State playing in their MEAC opener. Tayshawn Baines. Some grown man hitting going on out there.
And now we're starting to see some spark. You know, guys on the sideline for A&T, they're jumping up and down. People are hitting.
And some laundry on the field to go along with it. So a holding call goes against South Carolina State.
And now it's time to take a knee. You want to get into the locker room if you're South Carolina State.
And you can see just on the sideline for the Aggies, the energy being infused.
They've taken the energy in the stadium. The band's getting set to perform at halftime. D-Day's going. Special teams had the big hit. They just scored. They're acting like, okay, we're not even down. So good job of bringing back a little spark here, or bringing a spark, I should say, for the first time all night for these Aggie faithful here in Greensboro.
So as Nick took a knee, that will be the last play of the first half as time winds down here in the second quarter. A late score for the Aggies has them down by 6. How will they respond coming out of the locker room? Meanwhile, South Carolina State held their own. They have always played North Carolina A&T tough, and tonight has been no different, Jay.
Yeah, they've been able to keep the pressure pretty much down this hall. It's going to be an interesting second half here in Greensboro.
This halftime report is brought to you by Mountain Dew Ice, a clear, refreshing lemon-lime flavored dew.
Wrong first down run.
And when you're going to stall and try to stop the run, watch number 11 in white. He's got to take this angle here. He gets pushed around this way. It opens up the running lane for the crease. We know Gilchrist is just a youngster, but you can't run from contact, son. You got to go in there and embrace it and get in that gap.
And we talked about the South Carolina State defense really thin at linebacker as they're replacing the two-time MEAC Defensive Player of the Year, Darius Leonard, and the hard-hitting Deshaun Taylor, both four-year starters. That was really the strength of their defense, now much stronger up front. So the Aggies, who struggled last week against Morgan State on third down, 1 of 7 tonight. A big one here, 3rd and 4. Renard throws it, finds Zachary Leslie across the middle. Leslie dragging a couple of white jerseys with him, Jacoby Durant.
Pitching and catching here. Too much cushion on the outside. Easy throw on the slant route. Catchable ball. Nice route. Good timing between Leslie and Renard.
And Renard hands off to his high school teammate, Markel Cartwright, spinning down the left sideline. Stiffmore still on his feet. Oh, boy, that's a grown man run right there.
That's how you run the football there. We started seeing a sense of urgency from Cartwright in that first half. Nice spin move there. Then keep going, outrun the defensive lineman, and watch him get back in the field of play to keep going for that additional yardage. Markel Cartwright running like the 5th-year senior that they're used to seeing around here in Greensboro.
53 yards now. Jermaine Martin in the backfield to spell Cartwright. We talked about that connection between Renard and Cartwright, and high school teammates from Andrews High School in High Point, North Carolina. And now the Aggies in the red zone. 1st and 15, under 13 to go early in this third quarter.
Just imagine this. If A&T can manage to score a touchdown, they'll take the lead in this football game with South Carolina State pretty much had it in their grasp the whole first half, pardon me.
Bulldogs able to score 13 points off of 2 turnovers off of Aggies miscues on special teams. The handoff to Martin, and Martin up ahead on the first half run.
Great job by Renard. This is just number count football. When you've got 4 linemen and 1 guy in the box, run the football. That was easy there. Was going to give it to them all the way. They get up to the second level. Right now, I think North Carolina A&T's figured out the schematics defensively of South Carolina State.
Coming out of the locker room looking like they've made some adjustments, but the Bulldogs pouncing on Martin. Chad Gilchrist in on the tackle.
And to get it going, the Aggies, they need a touchdown. Coming off a 3-point loss a week ago when they couldn't get over that 13-point hump, I'm pushing forward. If I get this to 4th and 1, I'm going for the lead if I'm Sam Washington. So if you know that as a quarterback, be selective in how aggressive you choose to go for the end zone. You don't have to get it all the way in.
Renard in the shotgun, steps back, eyes his man, touchdown to Zachary Leslie. Raynard connects with Leslie for the 9-yard touchdown pitch and catch.
He can throw the skinny post. He's been doing it for a while. Nice location, and we're seeing Jacoby Durant struggle a little bit in coverage there. Was beat twice on that last drive, and the second time was for the score.
If Ruiz makes this one, the Aggies would have their first lead of the game. And he does. 17-16. Aggies on top.
Give up too much cushion on the inside. A good team will make you pay. The Aggies grab the lead.
ESPN.
The Dickies Flex Series is built for performance with superior comfort and advanced mobility. All backed by the unconditional satisfaction guarantee. Dickies Flex, engineered to move. Learn more at Dickies.com.
You always show up for your team, even if they don't. Hampton by Hilton.
I want to take on the world's toughest hackers. And this is where it's done. So, what do you think?
So they say that AI is the building block of the future. Super. But today, you're building wind turbines.
Morning, sir. Chief, the blade isn't passing quality gate.
That's why you work with Watson.
I detect frictional loss on the midspan.
It can detect the tiniest defects from just a few images to help production stay on time and on budget.
I optimize the fiberglass finish to reduce frictional loss and maximize airflow.
I was also part of the Maximize.
For AI that can do more with your data, choose Watson.
Hello.
The best AI for the job.
Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by McDonald's. Well, after that score, we see North Carolina A&T feeling like they got the juice back on the sideline. They've awakened, and so has this crowd here in BB&T Stadium as the Aggies have their first lead of the night.
Do we have to remind them that they were booing the Aggies in the first half? But how quickly things can change. That's why if you're South Carolina State and you're on the road, you got to keep your foot on the throat of that opposing team. They let off a little bit, and next time they get the football, they're trailing by 1.
Well, Baines brought down, just as a reminder, coming up this Saturday, a top 10 matchup with Big Ten college football playoff implications. It's number 4 Ohio State and number 9 Penn State at Beaver Stadium. It's at 7:30 Eastern, 6 Central on ABC Live, also on the ESPN app.
Ready for the whiteout?
Yeah, baby.
We're getting misty here, so we're getting a little mist out here, but right now the boys in white, they find themselves on the ropes. Conditions start to deteriorate a little bit. It's an ugly, traditional MEAC football game. This is the way it used to be in the old days, a slugfest.
But you feel good if you're Tyree Snick and this Bulldogs team just because you were able to hold your own against.
No, that's not the way you think.
South Carolina. Yeah.
Look, you play to win the game. You don't play to make a good showing. You upset that you're up 16-3 and now you're down by 1. See, that's the mindset now. So they didn't come here to say we can prove that we can play with A&T. They came here to win. They came here to beat them. They had a good opportunity. Now they find themselves in a trail position.
Jay.
Yes.
The Bulldogs averaging 4 points a game. They quadrupled that tonight. They are 1 point down from the Aggies, and there's plenty of time left here in the second half.
Yeah, but I just think nothing to feel good about. I think, when they were winning, they were feeling good about themselves. But they've got to figure out a way, and I think it's going to come from Tyrese Nick. He's going to have to create. The offense goes through him. He's going to have to make a guy miss a tackle for explosive plays because they still have not shown the ability to drive the ball consistently down the field.
South Carolina State has yet to convert a third down tonight. Good look there. Defensive coordinator Bennett Swagger, one of 5 new coaches on the sideline with Buddy Pugh. Pugh actually recruited Swagger out of high school. A couple of other former players of his on the sideline. So 3rd and 4. Nick with time. Does he run it?
Late decision to take off and run. I thought once he got on the perimeter, we should have accelerated sooner and would have picked up the first down easily. Now this is going to be close. See, when you're struggling for first downs, once you get the seal block on the edge with the chip, take off. You're not going to catch him. He waits. Woo, that was close.
And they mark it, and it's a first down, so that's the first of the night for the Bulldogs. They convert, keep it going. Nick keeps it himself. Bodies flying all around. Howard in on the stop along with Antoine Wilder.
And Wilder's the guy they get excited about around here. They say the transfer from South Carolina, he's that thumper on defense that they needed to add. And when he gets to the pile, he moves the pile. Number 9 right there in your slot, middle of the screen.
Nick flicks out the pass. And Jermaine Baxley, who recovered the fumble in the end zone for a touchdown earlier on the catch.
And now they're facing 3rd and 7, but we saw Demontrez Burrows have some success. He can get open. He's that guy that can get you a matchup. I try to find a way to get him, even though they got to be careful going against Matt McCain.
One-on-one coverage on the outside.
And McCain likes to jump routes when he's on the boundary side, the short side of the field. Man-to-man coverage. Find a matchup you like.
Nick going deep, and it looked like Caldwell may have been held up a little bit on that route, but just overthrown by Nick.
And that's something he'll learn as a quarterback. When you got 3rd and long and it's obvious man-to-man coverage, you don't want to settle for throwing vertical routes down the field unless somebody's wide open. And that one there, you got the one-on-one matchup, crossing routes. Get a guy on a slant route, something where he's crossing, where you can make an accurate throw, he can run after catch. Instead, he went for the home run.
Among the bright spots tonight for the Aggies, special teams and their
Let it go.
punting unit.
Why do they keep fielding the ball inside the 10-yard line?
A 54-yard punt, and the Aggies start deep in their own territory.
What do you mean it's not working out, Craig?
Craig and Sheila broke up.
What? Craig and Sheila broke up?
As long as office gossip travels fast, you can count on Geico saving folks money.
Craig and Sheila broke up.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Nerf rival. Entering the battle is Phantom Core with the new spring action Helios. Blasting accurate, high-impact rival rounds. And the compact Chronos. New rival Helios and Chronos. Experience the intensity.
Let's take a look tonight at tonight's Bringing the Flavor, brought to you by McDonald's. Kicking it from BB&T Stadium here on the campus of North Carolina A&T. The Aggies lead by 1, but Jay, just before the break, you were once again confused with the decision-making there on special teams as a huge catch and letting go. Zachary Leslie shook off one defender. Jalen Evans finally brings him down.
Yeah, great play by Leslie to make up for the special teams miscue, fielding the ball on the 5-yard line. But look at this one, just wants a little bit more. Great concentration by Zachary Leslie. He's that guy. He says he's our 50-50 jump ball guy. So Elijah Bell on one side and Leslie on the other. You put the ball in the air, and they think that he's going to come down with it most of the time.
Leslie, a redshirt sophomore out of Lawndale, North Carolina. Patiently waiting. Vision. Cartwright. Boy, Cartwright has been very effective for the Aggies tonight.
Yeah, well, you know, he was Tariq Cohen's backup for a couple years, and this is a little Tariq light. Look at the jump cut in, back out, the patience to stutter step, then bounce outside. Good job of running by Cartwright. I think he's been the guy who got this team going. Hard running effort in the first half, and then he's kept it going. Cartwright showing you what Aggie pride is all about.
9 carries tonight for 115 yards. Reynard throwing it under duress and gets it to go out of bounds, incomplete.
And A&T's put together a good drive. You know, think about these Aggie fans. They want everything. I give them the #2 ranked homecoming out there. I tell them their band is like the most improved, top 5 in the country, and they're mad they're not #1. They just think they should be #1 in everything. Is that what Aggie Pride stands for, #1 in everything? You got to earn it. And your football team's #1.
Meanwhile, you think Howard should be #1 in everything.
I just call like I see.
Discrepancy? Yeah,
no, I don't think
I'm
Howard's
sorry.
#1 in everything.
I'm sorry. I'm out there with everybody else saying, nah, Jay, not on this one.
We're not #1 in everything. Everything that counts for #1.
2nd and 10. Across the middle to Ron Hunt, and Ron Hunt, they finally targeted him, the junior from nearby South Guilford High School here in Greensboro.
And right now, Durant continues to give up all this cushion on the bottom of your screen. That's an untouched receiver. They've been picking on him. He has to get a little bit closer, crowd the line of scrimmage, reroute that guy, or else that's like stealing. If a wide receiver can run a route without getting touched when he catches the ball, that's not how you want to play defense.
And you can see A&T's offense starting to get into a little bit of rhythm here.
It is predicated off the running game. You know, when they can run the football, it opens up the passing lanes. You have to pay attention in the backfield, and then some of their star power on the outside hits you.
2nd and 9.
Well, take a look at number 81 in the slot right here. He's the guy they think is going to break out. They've been trying to find some ways to get him involved in the offensive mix.
Ron Hunt, who already caught a pass on this drive. And Raynard throws it out of bounds, but they feel like he's a guy who has yet to realize your potential, to your point, Jay. And they say he's the fastest on the team.
He's got all the tools. I mean, he's got the size, 6'1", about 180 pounds, fastest guy on the team, athletic, can jump. So they just wait for him to be a breakout guy. And Coach Washington kind of gave us that wink like Thursday night may be his night. Hasn't happened so far.
Raynard drops back, moving out, and drugged down by Xavier Johnson. Johnson has quietly had a good night tonight along that D-line.
Yeah, Johnson's just a sophomore. We're talking about that young resurgence they have there. Good job going to that defensive end position, gets his hands on him, and he's going to make it hurt at the end. You got to be careful not to leap on that quarterback. They'll coach him up on that one there, but a good play by Xavier Johnson.
So the sack forces 4th and 16. And that was the first sack of the season for this Bulldogs defense. The Aggies, as Bulldogs look to receive the punt, and they will be pinned deep into their own territory. So we'll step aside. 17-16, Aggies on top.
Whiteouts for other games.
Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by McDonald's. Big one on Saturday night, but an intriguing one here tonight from Greensboro. Thursday night football action. MEAC opener for South Carolina State and North Carolina A&T. The Bulldogs searching for their first win of the season, while the Aggies are looking to regroup after last week's stunning loss to Morgan State. And Nick takes it out of the end zone, and just near the 10-yard line, he's brought down by Kyan Howard.
And that's another one of those where I think if Nick makes a quicker decision and turns on the gas, I think he can pick up that first down. I mean, the outside zone read was there. Call quarterback run. He kind of broke the line of scrimmage and started looking around. Pick up as much yardage as you can.
Just a sophomore, but he's growing at that quarterback position, and the coaches said he's learning to play that position, not just be a runner.
He'll learn and protect the football here.
The handoff to Datron James, and James quickly met by Jamal Darden. Darden with the big hit, the leader of that secondary.
You'll see Darden come up from his safety position, and Coach Washington said he's the surest tackler we have on this bunch. Form tackle with a little bit of help from the interior from Sam Blue, the defensive lineman. But the reason why I said protect the football here, because they've got a kicker that's got a leg strong enough to boot you back into good field position, into the battlefield position. So they got him some room. Now they need their punter to come through with a big punt.
So Jerome Petaway with the punt. And look, A&T went into the locker room with some momentum just because of this last drive. The ground game got it going for him, Jay.
Yeah, I just think it was Cartwright. Cartwright really got it going, and then the extra effort. You know, then Raynard got involved in this. They did this so quickly in a 2-minute drive when they were able to bring their running game, and Mark capped it off with a spectacular run. But when they can control the line of scrimmage, it opens up the passing game, and then this offense starts clicking on all cylinders. They caught a little bit of that spark. Can they keep it up?
Raynard awaits the snap. Play action and tight coverage there, but a big catch brought in by the tight end, Leroy Hill. His 9-yard reception, the first of the night for the fifth-year senior.
Second and 9, be careful. Second and 1, pardon me. Second and 1, that opens up the whole playbook. So see if they get aggressive, try to do a little play action.
True handoff here to Cartwright. And Cartwright, who was last year's Celebration Bowl offensive MVP. And you see his numbers, and look, more than 100 yards on the ground, a solid game, catching as well, 2 touchdowns, as the Aggies defeated Grambling State for their second Celebration Bowl trophy. Cartwright, once again, just continuing to slither through that Bulldog defense. A 22-yard gain for Markel Cartwright. Dude is running right now.
He doesn't need much room. Uses his small size to explode out. Makes that one plant. Keeps the legs churning, that forward lean. Cartwright showing you why he's one of the best runners in the MEAC.
Raynard out to Malik Wilson. And Wilson still on his feet. And right now, the Bulldogs just have to find a way to wrap up the Aggies.
Yeah, they need some sure tackling. The athleticism of North Carolina A&T starting to showcase that they may have better athletes, wide receivers running open, running backs running for 5+ yards per carry. This A&T offense is starting to catch that rhythm.
And Mikael Hardy, the left guard, down on the field, the senior out of Philadelphia. And look, this offensive line has been banged up since the start of the season. We've seen so many different lineups for the Aggies over the first 4 weeks. And Hardy able to get up under his own power.
And Hardy, he's missed a game this year because of an injury, so they were hoping they could finally all be healthy and get some gel, or start to gel a little bit better on that offensive front. And Hardy's played a pretty good game here tonight, but talk about the offensive line. This is the 5th starting lineup that they've had this season, but they just had to kind of shuffle the deck a little bit.
Somewhat different from last year in the consistency they saw, of course, with Brandon Parker at left tackle. 3rd round draft pick now with the Raiders.
First down and goal for the Aggies.
First and goal for the Aggies, and Raynard saw something he didn't like, decided to take a quick timeout. Of course, the play clock was running down as well.
Smart timeout from Raynard.
Well, our Week 4 Monday Night Football matchup is an AFC West battle. Patrick Mahomes and the high-flying Chiefs will be in the Mile High City to take on Von Miller and the Broncos, 8:15 Eastern. Also also simulcast on ESPN2 in Spanish and available on the ESPN app. And your boy, Patrick Mahomes, dude is balling.
Nobody's ever done it better in the history of the game during that 3-game stretch. That 0 interceptions. That's a good decision making there. 13 touchdowns. Today's video game generation offenses, you can generate that. But the 0 touchdowns to go along, 0 interceptions to go along with it, that's special.
He was a straight-up gunslinger, and Sam Washington saw Lamar Reynard do some very impressive things last year in terms of setting records for his group, single-season records in passing yards and touchdowns here in the red zone. 1st and goal, the handoff to Markel Cartwright, and somehow he's able to stay up some hard yards from Cartwright.
Man, and after he came to a stop, he had a second burst, and he darted and almost got to the end zone. So they do a good job of teaching running backs here. I mean, Tariq Cole was a gifted running back, but they're teaching him right. And watch his feet stop, which you never want to do, and then he gets him going again and accelerates through the hole and almost gets into the end zone.
Big set down on the goal line. 2nd and goal. And Cartwright with really nowhere to go. Kendrick Gathers had him read perfectly. Gathers is a guy on that Bulldogs defense that gets him going.
Yeah, Gathers is a guy that can make the right play, the big play when needed, along with Roderick Perry. They tried to bring in Reynard underneath the center. Didn't fool anybody from South Carolina State. Tackle for a loss behind the line of scrimmage.
And that brings a close to the 3rd quarter. So A&T takes the lead in this quarter. They're up by 1 as we go into the 4th. It's a good one here from Greensboro.
Helps us change the way we see the world.
Old-fashioned MEAC battle on this Thursday night. Buddy Pugh on the left for South Carolina State. First-year man Sam Washington on the right for North Carolina A&T Aggies. Ended their streak of 39 games of not blowing a lead in the 4th quarter last week against Morgan State. And on a dime, what a pass in the end zone to Ron Hunt for the touchdown. Reynard just zipped that one in there.
Well, Coach Washington said that he thought Hunt was going to have a breakout game, and that's just a nice job of getting big and physical. They've been giving him the quick slant routes all night. Where's the adjustment by the defensive backs? Don't allow your receiver to get inside you, down inside the goal line.
Well, after it looked like the Aggies had disappeared, we were saying to ourselves, where's one of the top teams in the country? It looks solid here in the second half.
And when the quarterback starts completing passes, this offense becomes high-powered. Right now, maybe A&T found their mojo back because they're starting to look like the 13th ranked team in the country.
And I enjoy watching the student section here, Jay, across all college football stadiums just to see, how they're getting into it. And Aggie pride, that man right there, Sam Washington, is happy to see things on the up and up again.
Yeah, because he looked a little shook up, too, in that first half. So it looks like they're back to playing Aggie football. They have to close out the deal. When we talk about the students and everything, as we mentioned earlier, HBCU, none of them are larger than North Carolina A&T. It's the largest HBCU in the country for a reason, and they're growing.
More than 12,000 great degree programs in engineering and agriculture. And now, Baines and the Bulldogs have to find a way to respond here. They led 16-3 at one point until the Aggies have hauled off 21 straight points.
Still plenty of football to go, but I think now South Carolina State, they're relying on the big play. Haven't seen the nice long drive yet this contest, but the good thing for the Bulldogs is they've got the trigger man at quarterback that can hurt you with his legs. think you need to spread out the field a little bit, open up the running lanes. I don't know if you need the guy right there in the slot right now. He's taking up space. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to try and spread out the field 53 yards wide so my young quarterback can have better lanes to run through.
Oh, in and out of the hands of the defender. And Deion Jones wishes he could have held on to that one.
Then Jones from his linebacker position just tries to buzz underneath and undercut the throw. I don't believe Tyrese Nick saw him.
And Bennett Swaggart said he was going to continue to open up the playbook for Nick. Nick looking again, holding on to it, decides to take off and got kind of nowhere.
And give credit to A&T, they are playing man-to-man coverage, and right now, Samadre Abram and Mac McCain, the cornerbacks, they are locking down the wide receiver core from South Carolina State. I just don't see any white jerseys getting open down the field.
There's McCain, number 29, on your screen.
That's in your face man-to-man coverage right there.
And Nick looking and completes the pass. Omar Cummings brings in the catch, but that'll bring up 4th down.
You have to punt it for the battlefield position in this situation.
So another stand for A&T's defense now. 5 straight point punts for South Carolina State, but a good weapon all game long has been Jerome Pettaway from his punting position.
And let's see what decision Elijah Bell makes.
And Bell just watches it bounce. Fair catch. And a 38-yard punt as the Aggies will get the ball.
A new era of rival has begun. New rival Helios and Chronos. Experience the intensity.
Joseph McNeil and David Richmond, the 4 students who helped to stage a sit-in at the Woolworth counter, and they're giants on this campus. Franklin McCain III is the grandson of Franklin McCain out of Greensboro, North Carolina here. I mean, just a great story when you think about the history. And he told us last year that, look, I want to make a name for myself. I'm thankful for what my grandfather did in paving the way, but I also want to make a name for myself on and off the field.
Yeah, and I give him credit for that, because, I mean, to me, that's one of the best stories in college football. The fact that your grandfather has a statue on campus and you're an All-American cornerback playing for the national championship football team, 2 generations later. Hats off to that young man for making that decision to honor the heritage and attend North Carolina A&T. He's starting to feel it now. These running backs are all starting to feel it. It's running back by committee. Holes are getting bigger. They're finishing off runs. The offensive line is starting to get behind it. And now we're seeing the Aggies start to control the line of scrimmage.
16-yard pickup for Jermaine Martin. Martin scored back the end of that first half on a 40-yard run. Here's Malik Wilson, the quick out to the speedster. So A&T is moving and grooving, 21 straight points. Big part of that, Markel Cartwright. Cartwright, 150 yards on the ground. And Lamar Raynard has picked it up as well. 8 of 10 this half, 117 yards and 2 scores.
And that right there, that was good running. South Carolina State had that play sniffed out. They sold out on a run blitz, but still, Cartwright realizing this is not going to be a pretty run. This is going to be a get down dirty, physical run. The spin move bounces off contact, and I believe he picked up the first down. That's hard-nosed running.
And that's the type of running that he likes. He's the kind of guy who wants to run you over, but one of the areas where the coaches said he improved in the offseason was better footwork.
Great balance and hard to bring down. Nice forward lean.
North Carolina transfer in the backfield. Handoff to Darius Graves. Graves, a Greensboro native as well, stepping down the sideline, may have stepped out near the 35-yard line, but a solid run there. 11-yard pickup for Graves.
Yeah. Take a look at Raynard. Look how long he rides him out to keep number 99, Xavier Johnson, steady. When he doesn't know who's going to get the football, by Raynard holding the ball long enough, that allows the running back Graves to get to the edge and pick up another first down.
The Aggies driving once more tonight. That loss to Oregon State left a bitter taste in their mouth.
Look out, they're set up to go up top.
Instead, they hand it off to Graves, and Graves brought down by Damu Ford. We haven't called his name much tonight. He's a spark plug along that D-line. And a motor guy is Tyrell Goodwin is down, holding his right leg. And really, when you think about that defensive line for South Carolina State, they've been intact, but they're seeing one of their guys down. Will step aside. Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by McDonald's. Goodwin on the sideline being attended to after going down on that last play. Back on the field. 6 plays already in this drive for 42 yards for the Aggies. And the handoff to Martin. Martin brought down by Chris Adams.
And we're starting to see South Carolina State taking some chances defensively, trying to stop the run. Blitzing linebackers and bringing Chris Adams up from his safety position for run support. Not the sign you want when you have to have your free safety coming down in the box to make tackles.
It's 3rd and 9.
Big play right here. They need to stop. They're not in field goal range now. If they can get a stop here.
Raynard, fresh out of the pocket, finds a wide open Cartwright into near the end zone, but there's a penalty flag on the field, and that one could be coming back.
Yeah, this could be a double major on North Carolina A&T. 2 holding calls, one by the offensive line and maybe one downfield.
The 2,000 play, both against the offense. Holding, offense, number 4. That penalty for blind. Holding, offense, number 78. That penalty will be enforced, 20 yards. Repeat 3rd down.
Micah Shaw and Isaiah Hicklin.
A little double major and holding.
Yeah, I like that. That was well done, Jay. Tip my cap.
There you'll see number 78 right there, middle of your screen. Once he starts to get away when quarterbacks move, he twisted, turned him around. Micah Shaw. You almost want to say not his fault, because when a quarterback starts to move a lineman, they don't know where he is, but got a release.
Now 3rd and long for the Aggies. And the officials confirm.
Please set the game clock to 9:58.
So what do you draw up here on 3rd and long, Jay?
Either draw to Cartwright or maybe swing past to Cartwright out of the backfield. And they're showing you 2 safeties high. If you can maybe get somebody down the middle of the field, give them 4 verticals, and if they drop too far, nothing wrong with just doing a little check down to Cartwright in the backfield.
4 of 11 on 3rd downs for A&T. Raynard lets it go, finds his man in the end zone, and that's Malik Wilson for the touchdown.
How does that happen? Keep everything in front of you. Good job by the line giving them time, but it was a double move by Malik Wilson. And the cornerback fell for the post. Got caught in no man's land on the corner route. Jalen Evans, the safety. You can't let anything get behind you, son.
Wilson hauls in that 44-yard catch. 31-16, and now 28 unanswered points from the Aggies.
Gold Rush premieres Friday, October 12th at 9 on Discovery and Discovery Go.
You already know what time it is.
Catch the New York Jets at MetLife Stadium in October when they host the Denver Broncos, Indianapolis Colts, and Minnesota Vikings. To buy your tickets, visit Ticketmaster.com/NYJets.
Saturday on ESPN, expect a whiteout. We'll have a top 10 matchup out of the Big Ten. Number 4, Ohio State, and number 9, Penn State at Beaver Stadium, 7:30 Eastern on ABC and live on the ESPN app.
Ohio State making a clear case that they are probably the best team in the country outside of the SEC, which is Bama and Georgia, obviously. The Buckeyes look good. Haskins, a special quarterback.
Baines with a big hit. Hello. It was Lamar Raynard started 10 of 16 point forward though in the second half.
Yeah, 10 of 16, but it wasn't an effective 10 of 16. Then he got hot and started throwing darts, taking advantage of the defense. And this throw right here on the corner route, basic smash combination, third and forever, able to find his receiver in the back of the end zone to almost seal the deal here for the Aggies.
And you see those second half numbers, 9 of 11, 163 yards and 3 TD passes.
And you saw it in person. Radar got hot after the running game opened up. So when they can run the football, he's proven to you he can make the throws, but is he the guy that can drop back and beat you 50 times a game throwing the football? Maybe not, but you give him a complimentary running attack, he can do some damage in the passing game.
And you've got to say thanks to your high school teammate and Markel Cartwright as well, simply because he's been a big part of that running game. These two guys, you know, able to be first team All MEAC selections a season ago. And once again, they're feeling good about their chances, teaming up once more. And there's a targeting review on the field right now.
The second guy came in. Second guy came in. Now, the football player in me says, he's leading with the helmet, but kind of got caught off guard with the guy ricocheting towards him. Say you, Rogers, ready.
Yeah, you know, he lowers his head and makes that. I mean, that's pretty tough. He lowers that head and strikes the other player. You know, this could be a crown and helmet foul. I mean, that's the offensive man is not necessarily defenseless there, but this could be a crown of the helmet foul. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't conclude that this is a targeting foul for the use of the crown, because he does duck that head, leads with it, cracks it pretty hard.
Yeah, and like I say, you know, you're the official and I'm the player. It's more like I see the guy making football. Football's an instinct game, so the running back got hit and kind of hit towards the guy coming over to make a tackle.
Yeah.
It's almost a natural reaction just to go low.
But to lower that head is the problem here.
Yeah.
I mean, if he goes in straight up, that's not a problem. But if you see what you hit, it won't be a problem.
Yeah.
But lowering that head, ducking that head like that is where it happens.
Yeah, I mean, he had that one step to do it. That's it's all about player safety. At the end of the day, it's all about player safety.
Elijah Brooks, number 59. And there was no foul on the play after the review, so Elijah Westbrook
you think my job is easy, Roger?
breathing a sigh of relief there.
Roger said he's 0 for 1 now, so he's not that easy, is it, Roger?
And Nick being pressured up front, and that.
Now let me ask you something, Roger. The definition of the rule says, lower your helmet, target, you can be ejected. But is there some way where an official can kind of say, it didn't really have a big impact on this game, getting away, guys shouldn't be ejected for it?
No, not the targeting foul, because it's such a player safety related thing. I mean, the score of the game, that doesn't really have anything to do with it. It's what happens on that play and that play only without regard to, what the game situation is and all that. So, and because it's a player safety issue, that's why it's not related to anything else other than what happens on that exact play.
So you thought it should have been an ejection on that play?
I would have called it that way, yeah.
Now, it goes back up. There was no flag thrown down there.
There was no flag thrown. And so the standard for the replay booth to create a targeting foul is a little bit higher than it is on the field. They may have thought this wasn't just quite enough for the replay. It could have easily been called on the field, and had it been called on the field, I think they probably would have confirmed it.
3rd and 12, and it looked like offsides will be called on A&T.
Offside. Defense. Number 90. 5-yard penalty.
Here's Carfacaba called for the offsides. So South Carolina State converted on 6 third down conversions in the first half. Only 1 since. Now 3rd and 7.
Man-to-man coverage again.
Tough snap for Nick to handle.
Well, they blew it.
And right in the hands of Quan Caldwell. Caldwell with a big gain on 3rd down across midfield.
Yeah, they're playing man-to-man, but the guy that's responsible for the slot receiver, Quan Caldwell, forgot. He went with the outside receiver, therefore leaving Caldwell wide open for the huge play that South Carolina State so desperately needed.
So South Carolina State has new life and a fresh set of downs. Short gain for James.
And that's the risk you have when you play man-to-man coverage. One missed assignment can really hurt you in a major way.
Good look there at Buddy Pugh in his 17th season at South Carolina State. Nearly 4 decades as either a player or coach with the Bulldogs. Another low snap. Pressure once again. Nick down to near the 30-yard line. Sam Blue in on the tackle. The pickup of 7.
And I talked to Coach Pugh and said, hey, when's the last time? I don't remember y'all having like a dominating quarterback in a while. We went back and we were talking about, Cleveland, McCoy, and some of the other guys that had Malcolm Long. And when they had quarterbacks, they were winning. So the recipe for them, if they can find a quarterback to go along with this defense and this youth movement they have, I hate to say it, but they're not that far off. I've seen them in person. They're not that far off, but they got to do a better job paying attention to detail.
And don't forget about Caleb York just a few years back. He was also...
Yeah, but he left.
Yeah.
He transferred out, so they thought he was going to be the future.
Jarius Jenkins on the carry. Pickup of 5 brought down by Antoine Wilder. For the second week in a row, this Aggie defense has given up more than 100 yards rushing. South Carolina State has been successful on the ground.
This has been the best drive by the Bulldogs all night in terms of moving the ball down the field, picking up a couple of first downs.
And Sam Washington, who was the defensive coordinator for 7 years, to the left of him in the blue is Courtney Cord, who takes over now. And 3rd and 5. Can the Aggies hold?
They have to complete a pass.
And Nick targets Demontrez Burrows and just too low. Put some laundry on the field.
Yeah, that's that matchup between Burrows and McCain that we've been looking for. And Burrows actually won it. He was open in the end zone, but all thrown too low.
Offense, number 56. That covers the clock. Fourth down.
This is the throw lane. College quarterback, you have to be able to hit that. There was a penalty there on that play. South Carolina A&T declined the penalty, so but if you decide 4th and 5, I'm going to roll the dice. I agree with this decision.
Down by 15. Got to do something.
And a few times we're seeing the Aggies come out man-to-man coverage. I mean, in zone coverage, pardon me.
Timeout. South Carolina State.
All righty, Tiff.
It's your time. HBCU Power Rankings. What you got?
All right, let's take a look at the shakeup. Number 5, the Bison. You saw them last week. They've got an offense that can score. Projected to come in second in the conference. Hey, Kalen Newton, those guys, they may be on to something. Number 4, I haven't had Grambling this low in 5 years. Number 4 team in the country, they got to prove it. They can make it all up if they do their job. When they take on number 3, Prairie this weekend down in Dallas and State. I'm impressed with Prairie. Offensive firepower, they've got weapons, they can do it. Number 2 team is Aggie Pride. The Aggies are so confident, cocky, they're mad they're number 2. You lost last week. And the number 1 team, I'm giving it up to Big Blue. Tennessee State, Rod Reed. We'll see how they do through the OVC. On the bubble, very good Alcorn State football team.
You'll see the Braves at Southern this weekend. Huge 4th and 5 for the Bulldogs. Nick just overthrows Caldwell and a turnover on downs. Missed opportunity there for South Carolina State, but you're not too happy about it. His team down by 15.
Not saving the world. You're just getting it ready for me.
ESPN College Football is presented by McDonald's and in part by Vicks.
Beautiful look as night falls over North Carolina A&T's campus. The Aggie football team handling things against South Carolina State. Khalil Carter in as quarterback. Carter, the senior, and the handoff to Cartwright. But Jay, you go back to that 4th down play and you saw something.
QB 101, you're reading from the bottom up. So you're going to have an out route here, a go route here. Tell me how open is he right here? Give him the ball, that's open. You only need 5 yards. Give him the ball, that's open. Game's on the line. You got to keep the drive alive. Just think he wasn't seeing things well, confused by the look, but that's about as basic a look as you can find in college football today.
Instead, a turnover on downs.
Carter on the keeper.
And a flag.
Offside. Defense, number 91. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
You know what? I want to get a shout out to Khalil Carter. I mean, he's been the saving grace for North Carolina A&T. When Renard was struggling, he came in versus East Carolina. He played versus Jacksonville State and helped engineer kept the streak alive, the undefeated streak alive. And that's what a backup quarterback's supposed to do. When your number's called, he rose to the occasion.
Great example of always being ready. But what is so special between Carter and Renard is the coaches say they have a genuine friendship, and you know, Renard goes to the sideline, is always looking for Carter as the first line of feedback for him. What did he do right? Congratulate him, high five. And that's not something you see often amongst quarterbacks, because you want to be the one. You want to be the guy on the field.
Yeah, only one plays at a time in the most competitive position in sports. And for them to have that relationship, and you know, if you're Carter, how can you argue with Renard with his record when he was undefeated as a starting quarterback? You're going to stay the backup. So they battled for the job years ago. But what a luxury item it is for Coach Sam Washington to have a 1-2 punch at the quarterback position.
3rd and 1. And Cartwright looks to pick up the first down. That'll move the sticks. And you think about a guy like Khalil Carter, who has had success against South Carolina State during his career. He was pulled from the scout team when they played him a couple of years back and was able to throw the game-winning touchdown against the Bulldogs. So he just steps up in big moments.
And when you're a backup quarterback and you can lead your team to victories, you become one of the most popular guys on the team, too.
And Carter right up the middle, calls his own number, and thundering ahead. Brought down by Alex Brown. That was a pickup of 22.
They started to own the line of scrimmage ever since the first quarter, really. Able to run hard through the middle. I think this might have been the wake-up call that A&T needed. Yeah. They were on the ropes and they came back. And now we're starting to see the A&T type football, controlling the line of scrimmage, run game with explosive receivers in the passing game. And Buddy Pugh, he wanted this to be a trap game. It was a trap game in the first half.
I was going to say, his guys held strong. They were up 16-3, and we talked earlier about him being around for a long time, 17 seasons as the head coach, and what he shared with us is this is likely his last season at South Carolina State, his alma mater.
Keyword,
likely?
Likely. Likely. But keep going. It won't cut you off.
No,
but
you got to put that out. Got to put that out there. He's talked about it with the administration, so we'll see what happens from this point forward. But you just think about he's won 6 MEAC titles, 4 FCS playoff appearances. As Alex Brown is being helped off to the sideline. I mean, Buddy Pugh he's made a name for himself, and South Carolina State has been feared over the years.
And I would say this, if you're going to replace him, you better know what you're doing, because he does more than just coach football down in South Carolina State. I mean, phenomenal fundraiser down there, the relationships that he's built. So if you're going to think about making a change of Buddy Pugh, then I think the whole university is going to have to reinvest in their football program, because he's more than just a football coach.
Carter, once again, bursting through the hole. And Carter looking like a running back out there. 15 yards.
Yeah, they're winning the battle right in the team, the defense up the middle. Good job of timing by the quarterback, showing good patience, showing some athleticism. A little bit thicker kid than Raynard is, but pretty shifty on his feet as well.
He registers at 230, but showing love to that O-line, Marcus Pettiford, Mikael Hardy, Dackery Wilson, Micah Shaw, Briante Matthews, just wearing down the Bulldogs over the course of this game. Carter, once again, cashing him for more. Just a reminder, Sports Center tonight after North Carolina, Miami on ESPN with Kenny Mayne and John Anderson. They'll have post-game reaction and analysis from Vikings Rams, plus Patrick Mahomes' ultimate highlights. Sports Center tonight after college football on ESPN and the ESPN app. It's so interesting to watch this North Carolina A&T team simply because they were so successful last season, an undefeated season, the only MEAC team to be able to do that. Rod Broadway goes out on top as HBCU national champions and a Celebration Bowl victory. He hands it over to his assistant, Sam Washington, who was the D coordinator. They get off to a roaring start. Halted a little bit last week against Morgan State. They've turned it around, but just the success they saw last season. I think it caught the eyes of everyone. Everyone has North Carolina A&T circled as the real deal.
Yeah, I mean, going undefeated, finishing the top 8, top 7 in the country, that's good. But I do believe that those 2 victories early this year really made America say, oh, they're for real. They're not just MEAC champions. It also brought a line of credibility to the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. Knowing the team from the MEAC, although they don't participate in the playoffs on a regular basis, the fact is they can beat some of the top-tier teams. That Jacksonville win was huge. East Carolina kept it rolling. And then what does this do for the overall, what does the nation now think of MEAC football? Knowing a team as good as A&T that can beat the 2 teams that they beat this year can still lose to a conference team. Not even a team projected to finish in the upper tier in conference play. I think it tells you on a national scale that the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference is slowly but surely becoming one of the more dominant conferences or competitive conferences in FCS football.
And I know you'll love for me to mention the fact that Howard beat UNLV last year. You're starting to see more FCS schools, take down FBS opponents. Under a minute to go here. And Martin on the carry.
And then also, every time I see an A&T watch them on TV, it's the first game I've done for North Carolina A&T in a long time without seeing Rob Broadway roam the sideline. So, Coach, you did it the right way. You went out on top. You did it your way. And you left your man, Sam Washington, what'd you call it, a Maserati? Yeah. Well, they took a couple dings, but, hey, what can you say? The Aggies found their mojo once again, and we'll see how long they can continue to ride this thing out. Getting their first conference victory of the season.
A strong second half by the Aggies brought them back, and they will win by 15 as they open conference play with a win over South Carolina State. A good embrace there from the 2 head coaches. And your takeaway from tonight's game?
I thought the band was the hottest thing I saw for North Carolina A&T tonight. They did a good job. The blue and gold marching machine, they're good, and the football team is good. A&T stays the hottest thing in HBCU.
Over 300 yards in the second half for Sam Washington's crew, and they spun off to a victory for Jay Walker and our entire crew. I'm Tiffany Green saying so long from Greensboro with the Aggies with the 31-16 victory.